What's some basic knowledge that a scary amount of people don't know? Story 1. How to tell if food has gone bad. When I worked in the meat department, we got like one call a day from people saying, I bought this X days ago, is it still good? Lady, I'm not there with you. This ain't a smell-o-phone. You're going to have to use your own senses and brain on this one. My mom will always use meat before the date on the package and refuse to use meat even one day after. It's infuriating. I've had too many conversations that go, man, this bacon doesn't taste right. Yeah, I know. It smelled funky in the package, too. Then why did you cook it? It doesn't expire until tomorrow. Story 2. How to spot an obvious scam. Look how many people fall for those clickbait articles and chain posts and propaganda and stuff. I know, right? That's why I'm offering a $5,000 course on how to avoid scams. Enroll today. If you haven't learned what a scam is by the end of the course, money back guaranteed. Story 3. That pretty much every machine requires maintenance. Think dishwashers, washing machines, cars, mowers, etc. They aren't magic boxes, and they will last longer if you know how to maintain them. My mother-in-law is in her 80s and until recently didn't know that the dishwasher needs its filters cleaning ever so often. Edit. Since this blew up a bit, for those that would like to locate their dishwasher's filters, they're different for every make and model. You do well to Google the make and model of the unit and see if you can find a manual. Maybe even YouTube will have some information. YouTube is a great source for learning about things. Taking my dishwasher as an example, there are some reasonably obvious plastic pieces in the bottom of the washing area that can be slid out and unscrewed. There are 3 parts to my filter. Rubber gloves when touching them might be a good idea. Cleaning them is as simple as taking a brush and some soapy water to them to remove the gunk before reinstalling. You can also buy a plastic bottle full of chemicals that you can put into the dishwasher. You run a cycle, and the chemicals clean through the unit. I do both because I like a clean dishwasher. I do it every month or so, or whenever I notice that dishes aren't getting as clean as they should or some not clean smell. And computers. A scary number of people seem to think it's all about software wrapped in magic. They just can't imagine mechanical, electrical issues, not even heating. Story 4. That you should wait for people to get off the elevator when it arrives at your floor, instead of cramming yourself in when the doors open, blocking their departure. And keep walking when you go through a door or step off an escalator. Not if you consider everyone else an NPC and yourself as the main character. I also seriously dislike people who pay absolutely no attention to the people around them. Story 5. First aid. People living alone, please Google how to do a Heimlich on yourself and remind yourself regularly. It could save your life when you have no one else around. Or, if you are choking and alone, know how to run to where people will find you. In the middle of the road or in a busy hallway, if you pass out alone in your house, no one will find you until it's far too late. Story 6. How a 4-way stop works. Every hurricane in Florida, we've several traffic lights go out. People are supposed to treat it like a 4-way stop, but instead they just do this nonsense. Oh, he went? 10 more of us will go. It's fine. I actually saw one light where people were doing it correctly after Ian, and I nearly shit myself. I was so shocked. I'd almost prefer that to what happens in the Midwest. Every 4-way stop is a nightmare because people want to be polite and wave at you to go first. Even if they were sitting there, stop before you even rolled up. Be predictable, not polite. Story 7. Tax brackets. You only pay the higher rate on the portion above the threshold amount. This drives me fucking crazy. I work in manufacturing and make enough that we're right below the threshold for the next tax bracket. So many of my coworkers refuse to take overtime only because they think they'll actually make less money on their paycheck than if they don't. Story 8. A guest requested their chicken be cooked medium rare this week. I don't understand why I have to stress that chicken only leaves the kitchen when it's completely cooked. A colleague tried raw chicken hearts on vacation, some local thing. Was violently ill. Story 9. Overdosing on Tylenol, acetaminophen, and paracetamol. A large enough dose will prove fatal. The death is slow, painful, and cruel, and there's nothing that can be done about it save for a liver transplant, which, good luck with that. Edit. Several commenters have correctly pointed out that if treated quickly enough, there is an antidote for this poisoning and there can be a full recovery. When I wrote, nothing can be done, I was referring to the point in time when end-stage liver damage and failure have occurred. A friend who was working in the ER had to tell a patient that the fistful of Tylenol that they took as a sort of way to guilt their recent ex by sending pics was not in fact harmless, and that they didn't just have a bad stomachache or appendicitis, and that they weren't going to survive due to waiting so long to seek help, that they needed to get their family there ASAP. Story 10. Where their water shutoff is in the house. Also, that turning off the water doesn't magically depressurize your pipes. If you've got a leak or are DIYing some plumbing, you need to open up faucets so that the water already in the pipes drains out. Story 11. Just because it's natural doesn't mean it's automatically healthy. Just because it is artificial or synthetic doesn't mean it's automatically bad for you. I had my girlfriend tell me yesterday that carbonated water was bad for you because it has too many chemicals in it. I almost screamed back, "It has too." Story 12. Years and years ago, I read a book that took place in Australia. I'm in the USA. In the book, it was Christmas time and also summertime because that's how it works. The narrator described Christmas decorations that were snow-themed, Santa still in his red suit, etc., and I thought it was interesting that the decorations were still winter-themed even though it was summer. This book was my only source for this information, so I don't even know if this is really the case. Anyway, I went around to like 5 or 6 people at work trying to tell them that I found this info mildly interesting, and I always started with, you know how December is summer in Australia? And literally not one person knew that. Like, everyone was confused about it. I felt like I was taking crazy pills because I thought it was common knowledge. Story 13. There's a long handle on the side behind your steering wheel that when you flick it up or down, it turns an orange flashing light on that tells other drivers which way you're going to be turning. I've noticed a growing number of people signaling the opposite direction than they're turning lately. I don't know what the hell is going on with that, but it seems to be more and more common lately here in Toronto. Story 14. Antibiotics do not work on a virus. Edit. I did not expect this to blow up this much. Thank you for the awards and the shared information. Oh, Jesus, this. All these idiots demanding antibiotics for the most minor sniffle and the spineless doctors prescribing them are literally creating superbugs, making everything worse for everyone. Antibiotic resistance is real, peeps. Story 15. Don't dive in the water to save a drowning person. They will kill you. Throw them a flotation device, hand them a broomstick and pull them to safety. Do not get in the water with a panicking person. Wait until they are unconscious and then dive in to retrieve them. Source: years of swimming lessons and unfortunately knowing somebody who has died trying to rescue somebody. Story 16. Don't put water on a grease fire. This is when your pan or pot catches fire while cooking. Cover it with the pot or pan lid and turn off the heat. Edit. People in the replies have also added that baking soda and salt can work to smother the fire. Additionally, a grease fire safe extinguisher is a good thing to have in your kitchen. We sincerely appreciate you taking the time to watch our YouTube video. If you find our content helpful and enjoyable, please click the subscribe button to stay updated on any new videos we share in the future. Thank you once again, and we hope to see you in our next upcoming videos.